on the News Channel 5 network. This is MorningLine with Nick Barris.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Nick Barris. Thank you for joining us on MorningLine. This is a Monday. How was your weekend? Oh, look, weekends are great if you weren't working, and maybe if you love your job and you were working, it was still great. But all I know is it was hot, and it's still hot. And I've always said this, that I prefer heat to cold when it comes to the extremes. But I'm beginning to second guess that a bit right now, because between this heat and some of the allergies out there, I feel like I'm walking around with a bubble in my head. It's just so bleh. But I'm not going to complain about it, because at least I can come inside to air conditioning. And the problem is, I get emails and texts of people seeing animals out in backyards without water, chained in the heat, and it breaks my heart. And if I see it myself, I'm going to intervene and just go after them, okay? I'm going to report it. I'm going to do it. It makes me sick. And you know who else it makes sick? Not just the animals that are stuck out in the hot and suffering, but Allison Fields. You want to know why? Because first, she's a veterinarian. But before she even became a veterinarian, she had a deep love of animals, which is one reason she went into this practice.
It's true.
And it's infuriating when you see this happening.
It is infuriating, but let's talk about what legally they have to provide. And sometimes they can skate by with the bare minimum.
Lay it out.
But they have to have shelter from the weather. So some kind of shade and heat, some kind of protection from the rain or the snow, and they have to have water available. I think they also have to be provided with food, but I think that shelter and water are the two things they always have to have. So if they don't have those things, that's when you need to step in and say something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You report it. I'll tell you this. I don't know if you've noticed this, Allison, but in recent months, I have noticed, I think, an encouraging trend that I see more and more animal abusers being successfully prosecuted, taken seriously by prosecutors. And in fact, now there's a prosecutor in the Davidson County DA's office who is focused on animal abuse cases. But these people, look, there was a good old boy network in the past. Some of these more rural counties, you had judges there. Well, Billy Bob over there has got a dog. He's not feeding, but he's a constituent, so I'm going to look the other way. Those days are over. If you're a prosecutor or a judge and you look the other way, it's going to end up on the news and you're going to get your butt voted out. You want to know why? Because it's the will of the people now. They're not putting up with that crap anymore, letting people who abuse animals skate.
Yes.
And as a result, I have seen more successful prosecutions in the last several weeks than in a while. What do you think?
I think so as well. I think that as well, I think it has a lot to do with social media.
Yes.
I mean, social media is the bane of our existence, but it can be helpful.
Oh, sure, it's getting bad.
I mean, I think that before what would happen is Billy Bob got off because nobody really knew about it. Mm-hmm. Billy Bob showed up, the judge said whatever, and there was nobody there but the court reporter and one other person.
That's right.
But now we have the ability to broadcast this to everyone, and it makes it a little bit more difficult to let it slide, which I think is great.
I think it's a good thing, just to bring more information to more people. So, well, listen, 737-7587, if you have a question for veterinarian Allison Fields. I received a post, actually someone sent me just yesterday, that I think animal control in Montgomery County just this weekend took in more than 40 stray pets. Oh. And they're overwhelmed. And they didn't say exactly what the reason is, but I know this time of year, people are already blowing off fireworks.
Right. So we need to talk about that.
Let's do it.
First of all, let's talk about people, because if you don't care about pets, maybe you care about some people. So let's talk about people, combat veterans with PTSD. They don't need the fireworks going off. And if you are going to shoot them off, maybe you need to just let them know. And please don't start it on Saturday, okay? Just stop. So now let's talk about the pets. So dogs will run away from what's scaring them. And if they have noise phobias, whether it be thunderstorms or fireworks, gunshots, whatever, they will put themselves through windows. Whether if they're inside, they'll get outside, they'll cut themselves up. They will put themselves up and over fences, cutting themselves up. They will escape because they are terrified of, and they think that where they are is the problem. So people lose animals at the 4th of July every year. It is crazy. So I have a dog that Harper does not like fireworks nor thunder. She's not a big fan. And so I know that on the 4th of July, which it's illegal in Davidson County, P.S. Oh, by the way, So I know that even though I live in Davidson County, there will be some fireworks.
Oh, you
shot
know
off.
it's going to happen anyway, of course.
But if we can just stick to the 4th, everybody who has pets, combat veterans, we're all expecting it on this day. But there's no reason to start on the Saturday or Sunday before and proceed through the entire week. And I will say that there are people in our neighborhood that will call the police when this happens if it's not on the 4th. We let it slide on the 4th, but it's just... Come on,
I know,
have a little, and I know it's fun. I used to love to set off fireworks when I was young. It was great. But we just need to have a little courtesy and respect for people and pets. Horses are terrified of them. People who have farms with horses, they're having to keep their horses in the barn and pasture them during the day, except that it's so stinking hot out that the horses are getting overheated, but they don't have an option because people are shooting off fireworks already.
Right.
So just try to have a little bit of respect. Enjoy yourself. Have fun. Shoot the fireworks off, but let's try to keep it contained to a specific time.
Yeah, you know, and now in Wilson County where I live, it's legal. And my son, and he'll have some friends over, and he does, they blow off some. And they're responsible, but it's still the loud popping. And it's on the 4th of July. Now, we do have a beagle that is caught, and we know this going in. So before anything's blown off, we take steps, obviously, to put the animals in a place where they're not going to hear it and prepare them for it. And they may hear some echoes in the distance. What do you recommend? Now, we have the Thunder shirt for the beagle. There's even doggy downers sometimes. We make sure that we kennel them. We put them in a secure room, away from everything. We're not letting them out there to be caught off guard by these fireworks.
So I think the Thunder shirt is great if you have a pet that you know has these problems. And then letting them go to their safe place, whether that's their crate or under the bed or in the closet or whatever. There are medications that you can talk to your veterinarian about getting. Some of them are just an anti-anxiety medication that work really well. Some of them are a little bit more of a sedative. It just depends how bad it is for your dog. There are some that are just sedatives and they don't do anything for the anxiety, which are really not recommended because now the dog's laid out and really can't move, but it's still freaking out inside.
Okay. Oh, that's a good point.
The anxiety is not getting any better. It's just that the dog can't do anything about it. So talk to your vet about this time of year, it's like, they started on Saturday. Actually, they started last week, but I will bet today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, we will have all kinds of requests for meds for fireworks. That you look back. Yep, we did this time last year, and usually at New Year's we do it again. So it's a big deal. I mean, if they're scary.
Oh yeah.
And we need to try
fireworks, and you'll know if your animals too. I mean, they're skittish when thunderstorms come through. Beagle it's interesting to me too to see. We have our pugs, and they're just kind of, you know how they are. All right. And initially, our pugs, when we first had them, were fine with some of these sounds. But when Beetlejuice naturally came in, and as a beagle was very concerned, when the pugs observed him freaking out, now they freak out.
You need to talk to your vet about some drugs.
Oh yeah, we have. And Beetlejuice has some. The pugs are okay, and we do put him down, and he's in an area where he's secure and away from the sound. We set it up. The last few years, he's done fine. But we're very cautious about that. And my son doesn't overdo it. There's a few after dark where he blows off some of those pretty mortars.
But it's the 4th of July, and that's understandable. And we should all have fun. It's a whole lot easier for people to prepare their pets if we know that, okay, it's the 4th of July. We're on high alert. We need to pay attention. But it's the 3rd of July, and the 5th of July, and the 7th of July, and the 1st of July that catch people off guard and cause the problem.
Oh, it's already started. So I guess one of the things that got us into this was that alert that was sent out from Montgomery County Animal Control. My take on that is that it started early, and many of these strays that they picked up, over 40 just this weekend, and they're flipping out right now trying to get shelters to help them out. I think a lot of them were ones that maybe ran from people's yards because neighbors blasting fireworks. So if you're missing your pet, wherever you happen to live,
if you live in Montgomery County.
Yeah, Montgomery County or wherever, check animal control because your animal probably took off, was frightened. Of course, then they get far away and they don't know where they are, if they're lost or whatever. Go check animal control, and your dog, and hopefully your dog's chipped also.
And beyond chipped, a tag with your name and phone number on it, because a chip you have to get them to the vet or to Metro Animal Control to get scanned. Whereas if they have a tag with your number on it,
even a neighbor finding it could bring it back to you. Good point. Listen, we'll take a break on that note. We got some calls coming in for Allison. If you have questions about what we were just talking about or other things, flea, tick control, addressing the issues of heat with your animals. They love ice cubes made out of chicken broth. We'll take a break, and we'll take your calls right after this. Stay with us.